we're here again. This time, of course, to look at things that have to do with the economy, the things that we need to do to get better. And not just only the nation's economy, but even our personal economies. So we need to work on all this together. That's why we're here. Welcome again to the program. Okay, Chukwuanobogo here. I have a guest already who is seated, and I am talking about the one that is the director of Abuja Liaison Office of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. And I'm talking about Deyemi Folorunsho, MNI. Pleasure to have you on the program today, sir.
Thank you, Okechukwu. Thank you for having me.
Right, sir. We want to discuss things to do with what we have seen in our country today, talking about our economy and how it affects the manufacturing sector. So we will discuss that a whole lot. And as that says, it says growing the economy, then the manufacturing sector. Of course, I don't think there is anyone that is better than the one I have here that will represent the manufacturers, because he is of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, in charge of what happens here in Abuja. And so that's how we'll go. But before we take that, of course, you know, it's a discussion that we'll hold. But before that discussion gets on, we need to also let you know that we have business news, and we still have talks to give concerning the stock exchange and all that. But first, let's get into looking at what we have in our business news. Business news.
The United States has lifted a 12-year security restriction on Nigerian vessels arriving at American ports in a move expected to boost maritime trade. Recall that the restriction was imposed in 2014 after security concerns at some Nigerian port facilities. According to Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, the ban was lifted after improvement in maritime security and compliance with international standards. Development is expected to reduce shipping costs, improve vessel turnaround, and strengthen Nigeria's global shipping competitiveness. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has deepened its investigation into cement prices after finding significant price differences across Africa. According to the FCC, a 50-kilogram bag cost about 7,344 naira in Kenya, 6,528 naira in Tanzania, and 9,180 naira in Togo, compared with up to 15,000 naira in parts of Nigeria. Thus, the Commission is investigating whether high prices result from production and logistics costs or possible anti-competitive practices. Additionally, key industry players have been summoned to submit pricing and production records. The petroleum refinery and petrochemicals have secured a $1 billion underwriting program ahead of its planned initial public offering. The package includes a completed $600 million private placement and a further $400 million underwriting commitment. The funding has attracted interest from sovereign wealth funds, governments, and institutional investors seeking exposure to major African assets. Dangote Group President Aliko Dangote has described the deal as a major milestone for the refinery and African capital markets. Meanwhile, the funding is expected to support wider institutional participation and cross-border investment. The federal government has revealed that it is targeting 6,000 megawatts of electricity generation and transmission capacity by December 2026 to improve power supply nationwide. Minister of Power Joseph Tegbe announced this while commissioning 2 new 100 MVA transformers at the Ijora transmission substation in Lagos. The upgrade, he says, raises the substation's capacity from 90 MVA to 230 MVA, adding about 125 megawatts. Tegbe further revealed that 20 transmission projects would also be commissioned before year end. The Bank of Industry has recorded strong investor demand for its debut 250 billion naira domestic subscription. The 5-year fixed rate bond is part of BOI's $1 billion multi-currency instruments program. According to the bank, investors included pension fund managers, commercial banks, development finance institutions, and corporations. The funds will support long-term financing for businesses in priority sectors, including manufacturing. BOI Managing Director Olasupo Olusi pointed out that the response shows growing confidence in the bank and Nigeria's capital market. According to a report, Nigeria's food inflation rose to 20.31% in July 2026, its highest level in 10 months, despite a decline in overall inflation. The National Bureau of Statistics revealed that food inflation increased from 17.52% in June, putting more pressure on household budgets. Meanwhile, headline inflation eased to 15.43% from 15.91%. Meanwhile, rise in food prices continues despite government measures targeting the cost of living and agricultural production. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has deepened its investigation into cement prices after finding significant price differences across Africa. According to the FCCPC, a 50-kilogram bag cost about 7,344 naira in Kenya, 6,528 naira in Tanzania, and 9,180 naira in Togo, compared with up to 15,000 naira in parts of Nigeria. Thus, the Commission is investigating whether high prices result from production and logistics costs or possible anti-competitive practices. Additionally, key industry players have been summoned to submit pricing and production records. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has deepened its investigation into cement prices after finding significant price differences across Africa. According to the FCCPC, a 50-kilogram bag cost about 7,344 naira in Kenya, 6,528 naira in Tanzania, and 9,180 naira in Togo, compared with up to 15,000 naira in parts of Nigeria. Thus, the Commission is investigating whether high prices result from production and logistics costs or possible anti-competitive practices. Additionally, key industry players have been summoned to submit pricing and production records.
To have you back here, and we are done with the business news, so we'll still continue. And now we'll also be talking about the fact that I said there is something that is talking about how growing the economy, and then we have the manufacturing sector. Now, the person that is from the manufacturing sector, that is my guest, is the Abuja Liaison Officer of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. He is a member of the National Institute, and he is Adeyemi Polarosho. And so I want to say that I believe that he's got all that I need, even at a time like this. I want to say one more time to him, it's a pleasure having you on the program, sir.
Thank you, Okechukwu. Thank you for having me.
Right, sir.
It's nice being here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We are talking about the manufacturing sector in growing the economy. Is there any link between the manufacturing sector and growing the economy?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Because manufacturing sector, for me, is one of the engines of the growth of any economy in the world.
Yes.
Today we are talking about the powers of China. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go to the Western world. Mm-hmm. Let me even go to Southeast Asia.
Okay.
Most countries in Southeast Asia today who are developed, they developed through the vibrancy of manufacturing in their economy. Mm-hmm. You talk of China, you talk of Singapore, you talk of Philippines, you talk of India. Mm-hmm. And the fact remains that manufacturing sector has the ability to take a whole lot of people off the streets, and it's an industry that has a lot of value chain. So for you to, for a country to embrace manufacturing, that country is embracing development and economic growth. Thank you.
Okay. Then the other question straight away is from what you've just asked me. What you've just told me is, I want to ask you straight away, I want to say, is Nigeria embracing the manufacturing sector the way it ought to, even at a time like this?
Well, I may say yes, and I may say to some extent no. Yes, in the fact that for the those who we can call the fathers of this nation, particularly, let me use Chief Obafemi Awolowo in the 50s, understands what manufacturing is and what industrial development is. And that was why you had, or we had, what we call Ikeja, Apapa, Ilupeju industrial estate in those days. Then in Kano you have Chalawa, you have the other industrial estates. In Kano, same thing to some extent in Jos. So manufacturing has been consistent with our development, and that is why I believe that it has something to do with our development.
Okay, looking at it, I remember that we had companies like, just as you mentioned some of them now, we had the textile industry, where there were manufacturing companies that gave us things like this, you know, and a lot more, what you're wearing and all that. And then we had them in the west, had them in the north, had them in the south, in the southeast, and had them in the south-south, that is Asaba.
Asaba, yeah.
And in actual fact, of all of them, there's only one I know that is still alive today, and that's the one in Onitsha.
Okay.
What has happened to the others? And that has happened to all of them. And I know that that one in Onitsha was revived greatly by the former governor, Peter Obi, when he was there. And that's why it is still serving well. It was managed by individuals. That's why also it lasted till it got to Peter Obi's tenure. And he now helped boost it very well. And it's still working up to today. Now, what has happened to the others? And how can they all be made better to operate at full scale?
Okay, the story of textile industry is what I can call a sorry state, because this is an industry that's one of the industry that Nigeria is known for in the manufacturing sector. Yes. In those days, like you rightly mentioned, we had a lot of them in Ikeja, we had a lot of them in Apapa, we had in the great UNTL in Kaduna, and the Asaba Textile in Asaba. Two of them even went as far as investing in sports. I remember when I was a small boy, we used to hear of Asaba Textile Football Club
there was
and UNTL, which produced some of the great players that finally played for Nigeria. That shows us the good old days and what the textile has done. Apart from that, when we were in secondary school in those days, some of our colleagues go to Ikeja to do holiday job as young boys in the factory in Ikeja Textiles, Nigerian Textile Mill, NTM, NTMA and the rest. But leaving that story behind, what is the problem? Has to be one. The first problem that hit the industry was the issue of smuggling. Then it went to the issue of us neglecting the backward process that feed the industry, that is cotton and garment and spinning. From there, the industry started collapsing, and there are massive importation of textile materials and even apparel and garments from Asia, even from America and from South America. And the onslaught was so much that our textile industry cannot stand the competition. Aside from that, the infrastructure elements of the issues also contributed a whole lot. You have the issue of power, you have the issue of roads, you have the issue of moving the raw material between our farm in the north, where you have massive production of cotton.
Yes.
I mean, there is the problem of transport. All this aggregated together, and the industry started going down. Why it's going down? It's wrestling against smuggling, and as well as trademark that finally nailed the coffin on the industry. But I must say, it's one industry that, if Nigeria is ready today, if we develop it, then we will solve at least some percentage of the problems that we're having with the industrial sector. However, the current government is making an effort. Notwithstanding, we still need to be intentional about our development. Thank you.
I like that statement that we still need to be intentional about our development, because a bit of it you mentioned. In development, there is serious consideration of the fact that there should be employment opportunities and people employable being employed in those places. Employment, ability, and being employed. What is it like today in the manufacturing industry in the country?
Well, employment in the first place has to be with engagement of people. For manufacturing industry, I will say what should be and what we have today.
Yes, please.
As far as employment is concerned. In employment today, manufacturing sector has the capability or capacity to employ a whole lot of people. Because in manufacturing sector, you have stratas of employment. You have strata of employment. There is the lower stratum, there is a middle level stratum, there is a higher level stratum, where you have the factory workers who probably technicians or fewly educated but well-trained artisans or well-trained hands-on people. Then you have the middle level, the managerial, the supervisors, the engineers, the technicians. Then you have at the top level the executives who are either chartered accountants, business management people, and what have you. That is this. That is what not only in textile that I've just spoken about.
Yes, not only
virtually in all manufacturing sector. Yes. Then the employability has to do with how do you train our people. Today, I'm sorry to say, people will say, oh, maybe because you went to the university. We seem to delve more or rely more on certificates rather than technical hands-on. In those days, we have technical schools.
Yes.
People move from secondary to technical schools. People even move from what we call modern school in those days, after primary school, to technical school. From technical school, they go to polytechnics.
Yes.
And from polytechnic, they become technician and expertise. Experts. Yes. Sorry. They become experts. But today, those things have been jettisoned. Everybody run after degree. And you find that the university education, maybe I wouldn't say, maybe because of the proliferation of the universities, the standard has actually dropped. It's just that some universities are trying to pick it up now. So that is the problem for the industry, because most industrialists or the employer will look at people they want to employ. You are now taxing them to retrain them. Which was not the case before.
Because they are already well trained.
Yes, because they are already well trained. I mean, they are already well trained. All you need to do is to just polish them up.
Yes.
But today now, we are having things like that. I think the solution to it is for us to go back to the structure. We need to restructure our educational system. Then we need to also ensure that while we are doing that, allow people, give dignity to those who are hands-on. Today, if you call yourself a plumber, people look down on you. But if you say you go to university, you read civil engineering or what have you, and you cannot even roll a tap, you will be recognized.
Yes, it's okay.
And then I would like to cite this example. I want to give credit to our former president, General Ibrahim Babangida.
Okay.
But I disagree with one policy that came up in 1988, whereby we were, I mean, the polytechnic students or polytechnic graduates were also moved to level 8. And this made a lot of them, because in the civil service, if you have HND, the least you can go in the civil service on the public sector is level 13.
Okay, the highest you can
go. The highest you can go.
Yes, yes.
But if you are a degree holder, you can become a director of level 17.
Yes.
That thing created the kind of dichotomy, and I think the former president, General Babangida, was trying to bridge that gap. But in breaching that gap, the policy was later misinterpreted, and that created a lot of frustration into the system. And that's what drove a lot of people to say, look, I must go and get a degree, even though you don't really need it. You understand? So these are some of the problems that we have. And by way of what I can call interconnectivity, it's also look into our industrial sector in terms of workforce capability and ability to do things.
Okay, thank you for that. I want to say it's background explanation before the main thing that you did. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I still wish, because that way they stopped them at level 13, honestly, is not quite okay. Nobody will want to remain stagnant. Everybody will want to go further and to get higher. But all the same, they could have done it in such a way that people on that sector can still go ahead to any level, even if it were to be 15 or 16, 15 and stop there, but then not 13. 13 seems to be too far away from 17. That's another thing. Yeah. But then now, let's look at some practicality, some practical terms of the things we're saying. In the country today, we have over 776 SMEs.
Yeah.
And thinking about that, they are supposed to be part of manufacturers, is it not?
Yes, it depends on the area where those SMEs are operating.
Yes,
you have SME in services sector.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But in our own productive sector, yes.
And looking at them and looking at the economy today,
yeah.
How has it been with them, or how would you rate their position vis-a-vis the economy of the land at a time like this? And then the second part is, where do you think they can get to? What can happen to make it better for them?
Okay, where they are now vis-a-vis the economy is not where they should be. Let me just summarize it that way. Okay. Because an SME is an engine of growth in any economy, because you have them, the ease of setting them up, the spread of the SME, and what they take on is something that is very, very, very important and germane to the economy.
Yes.
Now, where should they go, or where would they have been now? What do they need? Basically, we have set up, we have been, well, I would say most times in the past, all the noise or rhetorics about SME are not backed by facts.
Yes.
I'm sorry to say. We have a lot of policy that has not been translated for these SMEs. The SMEs, they need help. And the earlier we realize this, the better. Because most of the problems we are having now, we have graduates that can become an SME. Some of our young people have brilliant and beautiful ideas, and they can turn into SME. But the platform to move them to that is what we need. And what are those platforms? We need to empower them in terms of making the environment conducive. Two is to, when I say environment conducive, it's about so many things that have to do with business environment in terms of interest in terms of financial funding, research, government regulatory policies, regulations, and so many others, which I will just keep for the sake of time.
Okay.
Finance in particular, funding. Today, the rate at which we have interest rates in the commercial banks, no SME can thrive with that. And I will blame the commercial banks, because ask them, how do they raise their money? They get the money from deposit. The deposit money banks cannot lend at single-digit interest rates. I used to tell my colleagues like that. Look, interest rates has been dictated by the banks, has to do with the NPR by the CBN and what they collect from their customers.
The customers.
Yes,
The
because if
deposits,
if I give you deposit, you give. I offered, or you offered me to deposit with you at the rate of 16 or 18%. I can't lend anything less than over 20%.
Yes.
Because if I had to lend a single digit, then I should begin to roll up the bank and knock my door.
Sure that you're closing.
Yes. So, but who could do that job? It is the development banks, like the BOI. BOI is trying. Yesterday, I think they did a 250 billion bonds that were oversubscribed.
Yes, oversubscribed.
And they are praising that the government is about to maybe securitize about $1 billion for them, which to me is a good step. We have to do more of this. Secondly, there is more of development banks that we have to create, sector by sector. Transport bank, industry, we have a bank of industry. Can we have marine industry? So that you can have these ones, and then let government invest in this, in these banks. Then they will be able to offer at a single-digit interest rate that will support investment, that will support initiative from SMEs. The other issue also has to be with, I think currently we are doing that, PEBEC, which is
yes, go ahead, sir.
PEBEC is already working on so many areas where we have been complaining, where the manufacturers and investors have been complaining. That's multiple taxation, multiple regulation, which the administration also tried to solve by creating the fiscal and tax reform policy, committee that did all this. But however, let us have these things being implemented and put on into the stream. The SMEs will tap into this. Nigerians, from my own experience and having gone to some West African countries, we are not lazy. Nigerians, in Africa, I would say Nigerians are the most efficient and the most agile people I can see around the world. I may not be totally correct, but I believe so. Yes.
I think you. Because I have seen them
because
too.
You find a Nigerian. I've been to one of these francophone West African countries. People don't come to work until 9 a.m. But in Nigeria, you see people waking up to go to their shops, to go to their by 4 a.m.
Yes, of course.
Even on Sunday, some people will just go and attend service for about 2 hours or 1 hour. And by 11, they are back to work. That is the resilience of an average Nigerian. And so we need to be complemented. And for me, I think we are having a reset now from the current administration, which is also addressing some of these issues policy-wise. But they have to, this thing have to be speed up and ramp up so that we can translate it to the economy. Thank you.
Okay, now looking at the fact that you've already said something I wanted to mention earlier, I will still mention a bit of it. You have seen the problems where they are.
Yeah.
Now, as a body, Trade Association of Nigeria, what are you doing to make it better for Nigeria, for your members, and for the entire public?
Okay. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, as you may know, will be is 54 this year.
Oh, if we were to be a human being, I would say an old man.
Oh. And over the years, I think as a staff of the organization, I've seen and I've been on the desk in economy research, in the sectorial, and currently liaising with the regulatory, with the MDAs. Man has always been at the forefront of advocating for good policy environment, and we have never shied away from this.
Okay.
We have done a lot. We are on so many committees of government, and I want to also thank the federal government for always consulting with us.
Okay.
Where and when necessary.
Okay.
The current industrial policy, we took a whole lot of task in it.
Okay.
We are part of the team that does it. Even the fiscal and tax reform policy.
Okay.
My Director General was a key member of that committee.
Okay.
And so many other areas, even with UNIDO, we are doing a whole lot with them. And these are what we are doing because of our members. And we have never stopped advocating for members. And we have been doing this. The only thing is that the countries, the problem with the manufacturing problems in Nigeria is not only local. I can tell you there is also what I can call conspiracy, international conspiracy.
Okay.
Because the very moment Nigeria wakes up, the world will know that
Africa will be awake.
Africa is awake, then somebody will know that a country is on top.
Yes.
Because here you have over 240 million people. This is the market. Even the AFCFTA, African Continental Free Trade Area that we are into, Nigeria is seen as the target. So, for us, we have done what we can, and we are still doing it. We are not stopping, and we will continue to do so until we have the kind of industrial environment that we so wish.
Okay. The industry as a whole, especially talking about the manufacturing sector, procurement of raw materials these days, I don't see it as smooth and easy as it used to be, because of the fact that there are some other factors, talking about the fact that you need to have enough foreign exchange to be able to import some of those raw materials, and the local raw materials, even when you produce, the infrastructure that lead from where you get it to where you're going to be making use of it is also not the way it used to be. And even when you look at infrastructure apart from the road, talk about when you eventually procure it and to make use of it to be able to manufacture something that you need, you now also bother about electricity and all that power supply, source of supply of power for you. And all that, you see that all these things put together, they are not making products that have been manufactured here to be easily available. All of that, what do you see, how do you see our country going in all these sections I mentioned now?
Okay, maybe if, thank God you are a journalist, you must have been listening to some of our publications that are normally exchanged in the media.
Yes.
Particularly our economic review. We do it twice in a year.
Okay.
And the team of our economists, led by our Director of Research and Advocacy, they have also, there is a portion in that publication which shows the raw material average. The average between local raw material
and
the imported ones, the usage. In the past few years, though it has been undulating, but in the past few years it has started improving a lot. Okay. Why it had the problem that you were saying with the foreign exchange? You know, before this administration came on board, there was the issue of Nigeria. There was a problem in the forex market.
Yes.
At a point that we can no longer honor our obligation.
Yes.
To the international market.
Community, yes.
And that also affected our members. But however, things are getting improved. But apart from that, government has moved further to now put in place a policy of which we are part of with the Raw Material Research and Development Council, to say that there must be minimum of 30% value addition of a particular raw material, so that some raw materials that should have been available for local industry cannot just be exported raw, because that's what we've been having before.
Yes, like what you have in the case of shea butter,
ginger, cocoa, what have you. But apart from that, is the fact that even the chemical industry, most of the petrochemical raw materials, which form the basis for most of the chemical raw materials, are now being available here. Thank God, and thank God for Dangote manufacturing.
That is
now. Apart from Dangote, we also have the Indoramas of this world who are also doing those things. Yes, the petrochemicals. But majorly, the issue now is, for some of them, the critical raw materials that are not available locally. Nigerian government has moved further to give an exception in terms of tariff relief. And those items, you bring them in at either 0 or 5%. I happen to represent MAN at the Tariff Review Board under the Federal Ministry of Finance. And there is a column, or there is a chapter in the Common External Tariff, West African Common External Tariff, ECOWAS Common External Tariff, rather, where we call Chapter 99. Those items that are available, that are not available locally, but they are critical raw materials for the industry, are put under Chapter 99, and they are being concession for manufacturers, basically for manufacturers. And they've given that privilege to us, MAN, to also collect those materials from our members, and they import them. Some that are 20% have been concession to either 0 or 5% for them, which is a great relief.
Good move,
and that has been running now for the past 3 years. So that alone has also, it's just that the problems were too many before, but they are being tackled and reduced gradually.
I would have loved to ask you another question, but then our time is up. But I would say 1999, 1998, and even before then, the production of ginger in Nigeria was powerful. In fact, Nigeria's ginger was among the very best in the world. But from 2000, we have been seeing some things that are not happening in ginger production and all that, because there was something that they brought in from outside that they said it was something that will improve the quality of.
You are talking about GMO?
Yes, and all those things. How do you see it? How does it affect you people? And especially what you have at hand at the end of the day, the money that comes into the hands of the manufacturers.
Ginger, I may not be able to talk about it fully, because I'll leave that to the farmers. Basically, because the issue of GMO and the rest, is a problem that's been tackled around the world now. But again, I think Nigerian government, health officials, people in the food industry, everyone is alert now to that. Not only ginger, so many other products have been, especially those ones that are not seedlings, have been. But I think that problem is being addressed by the Federal
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving that bit. We'll still find time for us to discuss more of all these things, because I have a lot more for us to talk about. But then, of course, as the time would always let us, that's how much we can go. I've been with you. Thank you so much. Saying thank you for being part of.
But just to say a last word,
Yes, sir.
I think I want to make this appeal to the federal government, and particularly to our dear president, that he should continue and determine to continue with the policy aid is given to the manufacturing sector, such like the first policy. That first policy should be moved beyond being the policy, but the implementation, particularly from the MDAs. Government agencies should be mandated to purchase from the manufacturer.
Money rules everything I know. Money make a man turn psycho.